Welcome to the ARK Survival Evolved story so far. Sit back and relax while HLNA and I break down all of ARK's events and stories leading up to Genesis Part 2. I am a survivor, like you. We are the ones who try again. And this is HLNA. She will pipe in from time to time with facts, lore, and historical data discovered during our travels. Our story begins long ago with humanity and how their most advanced resource caused the collapse of civilization. HLNA?
The times when they were building the arcs in the simulation before everything fell apart. It's about the last war before the collapse. A series of wars, apparently, between the United Republics of Earth and the Terran Federation. The two sides didn't have different structures or ideologies or goals. They were just two dingoes tugging at the same hunk of meat. Only they both wound up starving. When things got really bad on Earth, wars, element corruption, all sorts of troubles, humans thought of all sorts of ways to escape. One way to escape was Homo Deus, another step in human evolution. Another way, from a certain point of view, was these arcs. And the Genesis simulation was another escape plan.
What is Element?
It's a wonder material, endlessly strong and adaptive. Element was fundamental to civilization's greatest technological achievements. And Element was also fundamental to civilization's downfall, because it changed in ways human inventors never intended. Corruptive ways. It can infect all corrupt organisms that have sustained contact with it. Element corruption was a big reason why the world's in the rubbish shape it's in. I expect you'll think of a way to put Element to use, but be careful, survivor.
And what are the Homo Deus?
The much-lauded next step in human evolution. Trade in that mortal body to exist as a being of pure energy and thought. No one realized there was a catch, though. The Homo Deus ascended beyond our reality, at least most of the time. So from our point of view, they ceased to exist. I've been fossicking around looking for some sign of Helena, the Homo Deus who made me, and I've come up dry. Not only that, but I can't seem to connect with any other Homo Deus. I know they ascended beyond our reality, but you'd think they'd keep an eye on us, eh? So questions that start with where aren't really relevant to them. I know some of them maintained a connection to the orbital arcs after they ascended. And then there's Helena, the Homo Deus that I'm based on. No idea what she's got off to.
The first chapter in this story takes us to The Island, where we meet a 21st century biologist named Helena Walker. She was once a survivor, with no recollection or memory of how she got here. She showed great interest in the creatures inhabiting the island, and immediately got to work studying and documenting the various animals and dinosaurs she encountered. Her dossiers and stories can still be found scattered throughout the island today. Her travels would take her to the doorstep of a 19th century chemist named Edmund Rockwell. Although Rockwell seemed a little narcissistic, his sharp intellect and friendliness towards Helena would enable a friendship to form. Rockwell favored studying the flora of the island's many ecosystems, creating concoctions and experimental potions in exchange for goods and favors from neighboring tribes. Helena would bring theories of the island's purpose to Rockwell, stating that the predator-prey populations are not self-sustainable, and that the island must be monitored or curated somehow. Encouraged to find more evidence, Helena hears of a young woman who has managed to tame a small army of carnivores. Curiosity prevails, and Helena decides to meet this beast queen. Mei Yin, a Chinese warrior from the Three Kingdoms era. She's skilled in strategy and combat, with the talent of taming the island's most ferocious beasts. A friendship forms between her and Helena over cooking, conversation, and honesty. Soon after, artifacts begin to be discovered within caves by various survivors and tribes throughout the island. These artifacts act as keys to large platforms beneath the three floating obelisks in the sky. With the hope of unlocking great power with what's inside the obelisks, Gaius Nerva, a Roman centurion, decides to take his tribe to war in search for these artifacts, claiming it is the will of his gods. Rockwell, also interested in these artifacts, allies with Nerva, providing counsel in exchange for future test subjects. Helena, after given a trophy won from one of the floating obelisks, realizes it is able to unlock a cave in the center of the island, and decides to hire Mei Yin to help her find the rest. The two are successful in obtaining a second trophy key, though are ambushed by Nerva and his army soon after. Helena is captured, while Mei Yin barely escapes with her life, her army of beasts slaughtered. Rockwell, realizing Helena was with such a savage beast woman, is offended that she would go behind his back, thinking she was trying to discover the island's secrets for herself, and so he decides to keep his presence a secret. Nerva, after obtaining the third key and opening the cave, proceeds inside with Rockwell and his army, only to be instantly attacked by a strange overseer. Helena is left outside. Mei Yin, who has been stalking Nerva for quite some time, approaches the cave entrance and frees her friend. Helena, when seeing the death and destruction of Nerva's forces inside the cave, suggests a peaceful approach, earning her a knockout punch from Mei Yin. Rockwell, hidden until the battle was over, shows great interest in the mysterious metal lining the walls. Eager to learn the secrets of the island, he attempts to access a nearby console, accidentally teleporting himself to another ark. Nerva, finding no weapon or power within, begins to question his gods, thinking that this must have been some divine joke. Mei Yin, when approaching Nerva, announces that there is no better place for vengeance, here at the edge of heaven. When Helena comes to, she searches the station, finding holograms of humans, animals, and mysterious figures. Mei Yin and Nerva are nowhere to be found. She sees the island floating outside the window high above Earth, with countless more stations just like it, confirming her suspicions the island is artificial. But why? She must find answers.
One thing that's been bugging me: how did they get minds from the 19th century? And Helena had friends going back to the 3rd century. I did a spot of research just now, and it turns out that there's something called an engrammic matrix that persists in the human brain after death. If the conditions are just right and that matrix gets preserved, scientists can scan it, even centuries later.
Huh. You can follow in Helena's footsteps, find the artifacts, earn the trophy keys, and ascend off the island.